Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video today. We'll have a bit of a chat about what's happened in Spain over the last week or so while I go for a walk on this Saturday morning with my dog Mia. So let's go. Now I'll get the weather out of the way. As you can see, a fine day today, a little bit cloudy. The sun trying to peek its way through the clouds over there. The rains have gone away, and checking out the forecast for the next week, I don't think it's going to rain. In fact, by the end of next week, it's going to get up into the low 30s, around 21, 22 degrees Celsius today. So a pleasant day. So the severe weather warnings that some parts of the country have had over the last week or so, I think have stopped, but not 100% sure about that. But at least in this part of Spain, we're not going to see any more of those rains, I don't think, for the next couple of weeks at least. So what has been happening over the last week or so in Spain? Well, the last week has been dominated by election results. Last Sunday, of course, there were municipal and regional elections in some parts of the country. And then on Monday, the Prime Minister, Pedro Sánchez, dropped a bombshell and announced elections for the 23rd of July. And that caught a lot of people off guard. And why did that date catch a lot of people off guard? Well, the 23rd of July here in Spain is a peak holiday period. Lots of people will be away on holiday. I think it's also a long weekend, that weekend of July, and lots of people won't be close to home and close to their local polling booth. So what are they going to do? Well, for a lot of people, it means that they're going to have to vote by postal vote. And as we know recently, the postal voting system in this country has been in the spotlight because of fraud. Lots of people this week queuing up at the post office trying to get their postal vote registered. But unfortunately, that process is not easy. And I imagine that a lot of people are either going to cancel their holidays or getaways or not vote at all. Time will tell. And why did Mr. Sánchez call the election for this date, knowing that a lot of people would have their holiday plans interrupted? I've got no idea. Some people say it's because he's desperate, and other people think that there is some type of strategy here. Don't know. Let me know what you think. Desperation or strategic? So what happened during last Sunday's elections that led Mr. Sánchez to take this decision? Well, basically, the left side of politics in this country got absolutely smashed, and the PSOE party, or the ruling party, the party that Mr. Sánchez presides over, lost a lot of autonomous communities that it held previously. For example, some important autonomous communities, most notably Valencia, and they weren't happy about losing Valencia. Now, if there were losers from last weekend's elections, it was the left side of politics, and if there were winners, obviously it was the right side of politics. Parties like the Partido Popular gained a lot of votes. Vox also gained a lot of votes. And one political party, the Citizens Party, almost disappeared. And a lot of the votes that would have gone to that party previously went into the hands of the Partido Popular. So they came out on top as a result of that party almost disappearing. Now, as I mentioned a minute ago, a lot of people here still trying to get their head around why elections have been called for the 23rd of July. I said before that maybe it was strategic, maybe it's desperation on the part of Mr. Sánchez. Don't know. The fact is that his party is not happy about the election results, and there are internal rumblings that they're trying to get him out. Don't know if that will happen or not. Some former politicians from that party have been very vocal over the last week or so, criticising Mr. Sánchez's management and the way he has run the country, the deals that he has done, and lots of people not happy about those deals. But then again, it could be strategy. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to take advantage of a weak left, a left that is not prepared for elections that have been called so early. The 23rd of July doesn't give the new party Sumar much time to get ready, and also Podemos was left wounded after the elections on Sunday, so they're almost on the verge of disappearing as well. So that could be two political parties that meet their demise this year in Spain, 2023. We'll see. So the question now is, how does Mr. Sánchez plan to win those elections on the 23rd of July? Well, part of his strategy became clear during the week when he called all parties on the right side of politics extreme. He called both parties, the PP and Vox, far right, extreme parties. So I think the idea idea is to get people scared, tell them that the wolf is coming, so don't vote for them. Trump's name was also mentioned. He compared those two parties to Donald Trump. He also said that the media in this country is on their side, and the attacks on his side of government will come thick and fast from the media. So basically, it's a scare campaign. But I'll be honest with you on this one, I don't think people in this country are stupid enough to fall for that trick. But then again, you never know. So an interesting 2 months ahead as far as politics are concerned in this country, an interesting time to see what happens to political parties like Podemos, which, as I said before, are on the verge of extinction. And it will also be interesting to see what happens on the right side of politics, whether the PP and Vox join forces to govern in some of those autonomous communities that came up for grabs last Sunday. And also we'll see what happens going forward, whether that is a political coalition in this country. I don't know, but an interesting couple of months ahead of us. Now, another topic that has been in the press over this last week or so is whether or not politicians here in Spain need to know foreign languages, whether it be English, whether it be German, French, Italian, Portuguese. Do politicians need to be fluent in another language? That's the question. And this debate has popped up here in Spain because the opposition leader, Mr. Feijóo, admitted during the week that he didn't speak English. For whatever reason, Mr. Feijóo hasn't considered foreign languages to be a priority. Maybe he's not very good at them. Maybe he hasn't had the time. But it seems strange that somebody of that age doesn't speak a foreign language, at least at an intermediate level. Everyone else in this country gets told that they need to speak another language, whether it's English or another European language, but for some reason, Mr. Feijóo didn't get that message. We've seen it in the past with other prime ministers here, going all the way back to Felipe González. Don't think that he was fluent in other languages. Mr. Aznar wasn't fluent. He picked up English, of course, because of business interests. Zapatero, a socialist prime minister, couldn't say 2 words in English. And then we had Mr. Rajoy, who was in the same boat, couldn't speak a foreign language. And now we have Mr. Sanchez, who surprisingly speaks English quite well. He has dedicated time to learning a foreign language, and I think that has helped him internationally raise his international presence. I think speaking a foreign language at least does that. It raises your international profile. Now, Mr. Feijóo has said that he wants to learn English. In fact, I think he said that he has hired a private teacher to help him learn English, but let's be honest, it's a little bit too late, because as we know, it's not easy to learn a second language, especially the older you get. And let's be honest, Mr. Feijóo is no spring chicken, but it's going to be difficult for him to even pick up a basic level of English going forward. So again, I'll ask the question, should politicians speak at least one foreign language? I think they should. It doesn't have to be English. It could be one of the other languages that I mentioned. But when it comes to negotiations, when it comes to getting things done, when it comes to going to all of these international meetings, you don't want to have an interpreter by your side, or at least that's my opinion. I mean, you don't have to be fully fluent in another language, but at least have decent conversational skills. That would be my advice for Mr. Feijóo. Now, the final thing I'm going to talk about today is the unemployment rate in the European Union, and it came to light during the week that in Spain, the 3 highest unemployment places in the European Union find themselves in this country. Ceuta, autonomous city in the north of Africa, Melilla, autonomous city in the north of Africa, and the autonomous community of Andalusia. Very bad unemployment rates when you compare them to other European countries. And the unemployment rate in those places that I mentioned, especially in those 2 North African cities, absolutely terrible. Ceuta, I think, is close to 30%. Melilla, around 21%, I believe. Don't quote me on those figures. So terrible unemployment there. 1 in 3 people in Ceuta unemployed. So don't know what's going on. Don't know why they can't create jobs there. But embarrassing figures published during the week. And Andalusia, the autonomous community of Andalusia, 19% unemployment still today in 2023. Now, I think that would vary depending on where you are in Andalusia. There's obviously going to be some places that have higher unemployment than others. I think Malaga nowadays has a lower unemployment rate, but there are parts of Andalusia that still have terrible unemployment rates, and no government over the last 40 years here in Spain has been able to fix unemployment in Andalusia. So it's a real shame. But anyway, we'll see if politicians going forward start to take the problem of unemployment seriously in this country. It seems that they haven't done so up until now. The unemployment rate goes up, it comes down a little bit, it goes up, it comes down a little bit, it goes up, it comes down a little bit, but nobody can bring unemployment below 10%, or at least I've only ever seen it once in the time that I have been living here. So still lots of people around Spain without decent employment, if they have employment at all. So as I said, let's hope that politicians start taking unemployment seriously and get people into decent jobs. On that note, I'm going to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. If you have an opinion on any of the topics that I have spoken about today, whether it's the elections that were held, whether it's the future elections that we've got in a couple of months' time, whether it's unemployment, whether it's politicians speaking foreign languages, the comment section is the place for you. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.